All right, we are coming up on 8 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get started tonight, shall we? Welcome back. This is our fourth night reading from Morte d'Arthur. This is Sir Thomas Malory's retelling of the myth, legend, origins, and eventual downfall of King Arthur and his court. So far, we've seen the rise. We saw the tale of King Arthur's birth, and how he was spirited away, how he came to find himself back in London and pulled the sword from the stone and thus was chosen as the next king. That was all of, I'd say 5 minutes of reading on our first day. So it's something even less than a footnote, which is baffling, really, considering that's so much of what people know. We've continued on. We saw the War of the 11 Kings, the really establishment of Arthur's court. We saw yesterday how he wed Guinevere and received the Round Table, along with many of the knights that came with it, and established really the whole beginning, the start of Camelot. And then we've seen how it's already a little cracked. And we've seen Morgan Le Fay plotting behind, trying to get her revenge on her half-brother. And we'll see more of that as we go on, I'm sure, because that becomes a recurring theme, that the scheming, plotting witch behind the scenes is trying to bring down Camelot. We've seen the imprisonment of Merlin, and so he's likely out of the way for ever, shall we say? So, with Arthur on his own and without good counsel, and with enemies abound, let's see how things shape out from here on. So, let's resume now our fourth night of reading Morte d'Arthur with chapter 13 of book, I think 3? Are we on book 3, book 4? It doesn't keep track super well. It's alright. We'll figure it out when we go up to the next one, I'm sure. So, chapter 13. How Morgan would have slain Sir Uriens, her husband, and how Sir Uwaine, her son, saved him. The meanwhile, Morgan Le Fay had weaned King Arthur, had been dead. So, on a day she espied King Uriens lay in his bed sleeping. Then she called unto her a maiden of her council, and said, Go fetch me my lord's sword, for I saw never better time to slay him than now. O madam, said the damsel, an ye slay my lord, ye can never escape. Care not you, said Morgan Le Fay, for now I see my time, in the which it is best to do it, and therefore hie thee fast, and fetch me the sword. Then the damsel departed, and found Sir Uwaine sleeping upon a bed in another chamber. And so she went unto Sir Uwaine, and awakened him, and bade him, Arise, and wait on my lady your mother, for she will slay the king your father sleeping in his bed, for I go to fetch his sword. Well, said Sir Uwaine, go on your way, and let me deal. Anon the damsel brought Morgan the sword with quaking hands, and she lightly took the sword and pulled it out, and went boldly to the bedside, and awaited how and where she might slay him best. And as she lifted up the sword to smite, Sir Uwaine leapt unto his mother, and caught her by the hand, and said, Ah, fiend, what wilt thou do? And thou wert not my mother, with this sword I should smite off thy head. Ah, said Sir Uwaine, men saith that Merlin was begotten of a devil, but I may say an earthly devil bare me. O fair son, Uwaine, have mercy upon me. I was tempted with a devil, wherefore I cry thee mercy. I will never more do so, and save my worship and discover me not. On this covenant, said Sir Uwaine, I will forgive it you. So ye will never be about to do such deeds. Nay, son, said she, and that I make you assurance. Oh yes, sure. Trust Morgan Le Fay on her word, as you caught her trying to kill your father. That sounds like a splendid plan. Chapter 14. How Queen Morgan Le Fay made great sorrow for the death of Accolon, and how she stole away the scabbard from Arthur. Then came tidings unto Morgan Le Fay that Accolon was dead, and his body brought unto the church, and how King Arthur had his sword again. But when Queen Morgan wist that Accolon was dead, she was so sorrowful that near her heart to brast. But because she would not it were known, outward she kept her countenance, and made no semblant of sorrow. But well she wist, and she abode till her brother Arthur came thither. There should no gold go for her life. Then she went unto Queen Guinevere, and asked her leave to ride into the country. Ye may abide, said Queen Guinevere, till your brother the king come home. I may not, said Morgan Le Fay, for I have such hasty tidings that I may not tarry. Well, said Guinevere, ye may depart when ye will. So early on the morn, or it was day, she took her horse and rode all that day and most part of the night. And on the morn, by noon, she came to the same abbey of nuns whereas lay King Arthur. And she, knowing he was there, she asked where he was. And they answered how he had lain him to sleep in his bed to sleep, for he had but little rest these 3 nights. Well, said she, I charge you that none of you awake him till I do. And then she alighted off her horse, and thought for to steal away Excalibur his sword. And so she went straight unto his chamber, and no man durst obey her commandment. And there she found Arthur asleep in his bed, and Excalibur in his right hand naked. When she saw that she was passing heavy, that she might not come by the sword without she had awakened him, and then she wist well she had been dead. Then she took the scabbard, and went her way on horseback. When the king awoke and missed his scabbard, he was wroth, and he asked who had been there. And they said his sister, Queen Morgan, had been there, and had put the scabbard under her mantle and was gone. Alas, said Arthur, falsely ye have watched me. Sir, said they all, we durst not disobey your sister's commandment. Ah, said Arthur, said the king, let fetch me the best horse may be found, and bid Sir Ontzlake arm him in all haste, and take another good horse and ride with me. So anon, the king and Ontzlake were well armed, and rode after this lady. So they came by a cross, and found a cowherd, and they asked the poor man if there had come any lady riding that way. Sir, said this poor man, right late came a lady riding with 40 horses, and to yonder forest she rode. Then they spurred their horses, and followed fast, and within a while Arthur had a sight of Morgan Le Fay. Then he chased as fast as he might. When she espied him following her, she rode a greater pace through the forest, till she came to a plain. And when she saw she might not escape, she rode into a lake thereby, and said, Whatsoever come of me, my brother shall not have this scabbard. And then she let throw the scabbard in the deepest water, so it sank, for it was heavy of gold and precious stones. Then she rode into a valley, where many great stones were. And when she saw she must be overtaken, she shaped herself, horse and man, by enchantment, unto a great marble stone. Anon withal came Sir Arthur and Sir Ontzlake, whereas the king might know his sister and her men, and one knight from another. Said the king, Here may ye see the vengeance of God, and now am I sorry that this misadventure is befallen. Then he looked for the scabbard, but it would not be found. So he returned to the abbey where he came from. So when Arthur was gone, she turned all into the likeness as she and they were before, and said, Sirs, now may we go where we will. Well, all right. So it seems the scabbard is lost, thrown into a lake that no one even knows. Which, as you may remember, the scabbard is what is got the healing or preventative power, protective powers of Excalibur, which, now that Arthur is without, he is a fair sight more vulnerable. We'll see if it's to be recovered or some serendipity is to bring it forth. Or not. And so we continue now with chapter 15. How Morgan Le Fay saved a knight that should have been drowned, and how King Arthur returned home again. Then said Morgan, Saw ye Arthur, my brother? Yea, said her knights, right well, and that ye should have found, and we might have stirred from one stead, but by his armivestal countenance, he would have caused us to have fled. I believe you, said Morgan. Anon, after she rode, she met a knight, leading another knight on his horse before him, bound hand and foot, blindfold, to have drowned him in a fountain. When she saw this knight so bound, she asked him, What will ye do with that knight? Lady, said he, I will drown him. For what cause? She asked. For I found him with my wife, and she shall have the same death anon. That were pity, said Morgan Le Fay. Now, what say ye, knight? Is it truth that he saith of you? She said to the knight that should be drowned, Nay, truly, madam, he saith not right on me. Of whence ye be, said Morgan Le Fay, and of what country? I am of the court of King Arthur, and my name is Manassen, cousin unto Accolon of Gaul. Ye say well, said she, and for the love of him ye shall be delivered, and ye shall have your adversary in the same case ye be in. So Manassen was loosed, and the other knight bound, and anon Manassen unarmed him, and armed himself in his harness, and so mounted on horseback, and the knight afore him, and so threw him into the fountain and drowned him. And then he rode unto Morgan again, and asked if she would anything unto King Arthur. Tell him that I rescued thee, not for the love of him, but for the love of Accolon, and tell him I fear him not, while I can make me and them that be with me in likeness of stones. And let him wit I can do much more when I see my time. And so she departed into the country of Gore, and there she richly received and made her castles and towns passing strong, for always she dreaded much King Arthur. When the king had well rested him at the abbey, he rode unto Camelot, and found his queen and his barons right glad of his coming. And when they heard of his strange adventures, as is afore rehearsed, then all had marvel of the falsehood of Morgan Le Fay. Many knights wished her burnt. Then came Manassen to court and told the king of his adventure. Well, said the king, she is a kind sister. I shall so be avenged on her, and I live, that all Christendom shall speak of it. So on the morn there came a damsel from Morgan to the king, and she brought with her the richest mantle that ever was seen in that court. For it was set as full of precious stones as one might stand by another. There were the richest stones that ever the king saw. And the damsel said, Your sister sendeth you this mantle, and desireth that ye should take this gift of her. And in what things she hath offended you, she will amend it at your own pleasure. When the king beheld this mantle, it pleased him much, but he said but little. Oh yes, bribe the king. And you know what? He's probably actually fine with it, because he's kind of dense, it seems. Saved a knight, hurrah! The knight may have been an adulterer. Hurrah! The other one was drowned. Hurrah! Yeah, so things are very quickly spiraling out of control here, because everyone seems to just make the most convenient of decisions. So let's continue now with chapter 16. How the damsel of the lake saved King Arthur from the mantle that should have burnt him. With that came the damsel of the lake unto the king, and said, Sir, I must speak with you in privity. Say on, said the king, what ye will. Sir, said the damsel, put not on you this mantle till you have seen more, and in no wise let it not come on you, nor on no knight of yours, till ye command the bringer thereof to put it upon her. Well, said King Arthur, it shall be done as ye counsel me. And then he said unto the damsel that came from his sister, Damsel, this mantle that ye have brought me, I will see it upon you. Sir, she said, it will not beseem me to wear a king's garment. By my head, said Arthur, ye shall wear it, or it come on my back, or any man's that here is. And so the king made it to be put upon her, and forthwithal she fell down dead, and never more spake word after, and burnt to coals. Then was the king wonderly wroth, more than he was toforehand, and said unto King Uriens, My sister, your wife, is alway about to betray me, and well I wot either ye, or my nephew, your son, is of counsel with her to have me destroyed. But as for you, said the king to King Uriens, I deem not greatly that ye be of her counsel, for Accolon confessed to me by his own mouth that she would have destroyed you as well as me. Therefore I hold you excused. But as for your son, Sir Uwaine, I hold him suspect. Therefore I charge you, put him out of my court. So Sir Uwaine was discharged. And when Sir Gawaine wist that, he made him ready to go with him, and said, Whoso banisheth my cousin Germain shall banish me. So they two departed, and rode into a great forest. So they came to an abbey of monks, and there were well lodged. But when the king wist that Sir Gawaine was departed from the court, there was made great sorrow among all the estates. Now, said Gaheris, Gawaine's brother, we have lost 2 good knights for the love of one. So on the morn they heard their masses in the abbey, and so they rode forth till they came to a great forest. Then was Sir Gawaine ware in a valley by a turret of 12 fair damsels, and 2 knights armed on great horses. And the damsels went to and fro by a tree. And then was Sir Gawaine ware how there hung a white shield on that tree. And ever as the damsels came by it, they spit upon it, and threw mire, and some threw mire upon the shield. Now what have we here? And now chapter 17. How Sir Gawaine and Sir Uwaine met with 12 fair damsels, and how they complained on Sir Marhaus. Then Sir Gawaine and Sir Uwaine went and saluted them, and asked why they did that despot to the shield. Sir, said the damsels, we shall tell you. There is a knight in this country that owneth this white shield, and he is a passing good man of his hands, but he hateth all ladies and gentlewomen. And therefore we do all this despot to the shield. I say you, said Sir Gawaine, it beseemeth evil a good knight to despise all ladies and gentlewomen. And peradventure, though he hate you, he hath some certain cause. And peradventure, he loveth in some other places ladies and gentlewomen. And to be loved again, and he be such a man of prowess as ye speak of. Now, what is his name? Sir, said they, his name is Marhaus, the king's son of Ireland. I know him well, said Sir Uwaine. He is a passing good knight, as is any alive, for I saw him once proved at a jousts where many knights were gathered. In that time there might no man withstand him. Ah, said Sir Gawaine, damsels, methinketh ye are to blame. For it is to suppose, he that hung that shield there, he will not be long therefrom. And then may those knights match him on horseback. And that is more your worship than thus. For I will abide no longer to see a knight's shield dishonored. And therewith Sir Uwaine and Gawaine departed a little from them. And then were they where Sir Marhaus came riding on a great horse straight toward them. And when the 12 damsels saw Sir Marhaus, they fled into the turret as they were wild, so that some of them fell by the way. Then the one of the knights of the tower dressed his shield and said on high, Sir Marhaus, defend thee. And so they ran together, that the knight brake his spear on Marhaus, and Marhaus smote him so hard that he brake his neck and the horse's back. Damn. That saw the other knight of the turret, and dressed him toward Marhaus. And they met so eagerly together, that the knight of the turret was soon smitten down, horse and man, stark dead. Alright, damn, Marhaus is reputedly a misogynist, but damned is this man strong, just knocked 2 knights and their horses dead at a stroke. We'll see if he's falsely charged or if He's just such a powerful asshole that no one around can stand against him. And so we come now to chapter 18. How Sir Marhaus jousted with Sir Gawain and Sir Uwaine, and overthrew them both. And then Sir Marhaus rode unto his shield, and saw how it was defouled, and said, Of this despot I am a part avenged. For her love that gave me this white shield, I shall wear thee, and hang mine where thou wast. And so he hanged it about his neck. Then he rode straight unto Sir Gawain and to Sir Uwaine, and asked them what they did there. They answered him that they came from King Arthur's court to see adventures. Well, said Sir Marhaus, here am I ready, an adventurous knight, that will fulfill any adventure that ye will desire. And so departed from them to fetch his range. Let him go, said Sir Uwaine unto Sir Gawain, for he is a passing good knight, as any is living. I would not by my will that any of us were matched with him. Nay, said Sir Gawain, not so. If it were shame to us, were he not assayed, were he never so good a knight. Well, said Sir Uwaine, I will assay him afore you, for I am more weaker than ye. If he smite me down, then may ye revenge me. So these two knights came together with great rondon, that Sir Uwaine smote Sir Marhaus, that his spear brast in pieces on the shield, and Sir Marhaus smote him so sore that the horse and man he bare to the earth, and hurt Sir Uwaine on the left side. Then Sir Marhaus turned his horse, and rode toward Gawain with his spear. And when Sir Gawain saw that he dressed his shield, and they aventred their spears, and they came together with all the might of their horses, that either knight smote other so hard in the midst of their shields, but Sir Gawain's spear brake, but Sir Marhaus' spear held, and therewith Sir Gawain and his horse rushed down to the earth, and lightly Sir Gawain rose on his feet, and pulled out his sword, and dressed him toward Sir Marhaus on foot. And Sir Marhaus saw that, and pulled out his sword, and began to come to Sir Gawain on horseback. Sir Knight, said Sir Gawain, alight on foot, or else I will slay thy horse. Gramercy, said Sir Marhaus, of your gentleness ye teach me courtesy, for it is not for one knight to be on foot and the other on horseback. And therewith Sir Marhaus set his spear against a tree, and alighted and tied his horse to a tree, and dressed his shield. And either came unto the other eagerly, and smote together with their swords, that their shields flew in cantels, and they bruised their helms and their hauberks, and wounded each other. But Sir Gawain from it past 9 of the clock waxed ever stronger and stronger, for then it came to the hour of noon, and thrice his might was increased. And all this espied Sir Marhaus, and had great wonder how his might increased. And so they wounded each other passing sore. And then, when it was past noon, and when it drew toward evensong, Sir Gawain's strength feebled, and waxed passing faint, that unless he might endure any longer. And Sir Marhaus was then bigger and bigger. Sir Knight, said Sir Marhaus, I have well felt that ye are a passing good knight, and a marvellous man of might as ever I felt any, while it lasteth. And our quarrels are not great, and therefore it were pity to do you hurt, for I feel ye are passing feeble. Ah, said Sir Gawain, gentle knight, ye say the word that I would say. And therewith they took off their helms, and either kissed other, and there they swore together either to love other as brethren. And Sir Marhaus prayed Sir Gawain to lodge with him that night. And so they took their horses, and rode toward Sir Marhaus' house. And as they rode by the way, Sir Knight, said Sir Gawain, I have marvel that so valiant a man as ye be loved no ladies nor damsels. Sir, said Sir Marhaus, they name me wrongfully, those that give me that name. And well I wot it be the damsels of the turret that so name me, and other such as they. Now shall I tell you for what cause I hate them? For they be sorceresses and enchanters, many of them, and be a knight never so good of his body, and full of prowess, as man may be. They will make him a stark coward to have the better of him. And this is the principal cause that I hate them. and to all good ladies and gentlewomen I owe my service as a knight ought to do. As the book rehearseth in French, there were many knights that overmatched Sir Gawain, for all the thrice might that he had, Sir Launcelot de Lake, Sir Tristram, Sir Bors de Ganis, Sir Percival, Sir Pellis, and Sir Marhaus. These 6 knights had the better of Sir Gawain. Then within a little while they came to Sir Marhaus's place, which was in a little priory, and there they alighted, and ladies and damsels unarmed them, and hastily looked to their hurts, for they were all 3 hurt. And so they had all 3 good lodging with Sir Marhaus, and good cheer. For when he wist that they were King Arthur's sister's sons, he made them all the cheer that lay in his power. And so they sojourned there a se'nnight, and were well eased of their wounds, and at the last departed. Now, said Sir Marhaus, we will not depart so lightly, for I will bring you through the forest, and rode day by day, well as 7 days, or they found any adventure. At the last they came into a great forest, that was named the country and forest of Arroy, and the country of strange adventures. In this country, said Sir Marhaus, came never knight since it was christened, but he found strange adventures. And so they rode and came into a deep valley full of stones, and thereby they saw a fair stream of water. Above thereby was the head of the stream a fair fountain, and 3 damsels sitting thereby. And then they rode to them, and either saluted other, and the eldest had a garland of gold about her head, and she was 80 winter of age or more, and her hair was white under the garland. The second damsel was 30 winter of age, with a circlet of gold about her head. The third damsel was but 15 year of age, and a garland of flowers about her head. When these 3 knights had so beheld them, they asked them the cause why they sat at that fountain. We be here, said the damsels, for this cause, if we may see any errant knights, to teach them unto strange adventures. And ye be 3 knights that seek adventures, and we be 3 damsels. And therefore each one of you must choose one of us. And when ye have done so, we will lead you unto 3 highways, and there each of you shall choose a way, and his damsel with him. And this day 12 ye must meet here again, and God send you your lives. And thereto ye must plight your troth. This is well said, said Sir Marhaus. Well, that was a lot going on in a chapter. So Marhaus beat Gawain and Uwaine one after the other, right after having beat 2 other knights. So this dude is something else. But as they fought, they became friends in the best shonen fashion. So Gawain and Marhaus and Uwaine together have gone on an adventure. And this was really, it hinted at, there's sort of a myth about Gawain where during the day he is unmatched. So no one can beat him. And it saw, like, as the day went on, he was stronger around noon, and as the sun fell, so did his strength. This is mentioned in a few other medias, and it'll probably come up again further down here. That's, you know what? Japan does not have sole providence on fighting and making friends. Okay? But we're on to a new adventure, and apparently the 3 damsels, which, I'm sorry, I've never heard a 60-year-old woman called a damsel. Just saying. It may be very well true, but that's a little outside the range of what I would generally consider a damsel. 30? Could be. 15? Assuredly. But that's kind of pushing that boundary there. Alright, let's continue on, because there is an adventure afoot. So, chapter 19. How Sir Marhaus, Sir Gawain, and Sir Uwaine met 3 damsels, and each of them took one. Now shall every of us choose a damsel. I shall tell you, said Sir Uwaine, I am the youngest, and most weakest of you both. Therefore I will have the eldest damsel, for she hath seen much, and can best help me when I have need, for I have most need of help of you both. Damn, actually, you ain't kind of wise there. That's a good take. Haven't seen much of the world, so bring along the lady that has. Now, said Sir Marhaus, I will have the damsel of 30 winter age, for she falleth best to me. Well, said Sir Gawain, I thank you, for ye have left me the youngest and the fairest, and she is most lifest to me. Then every damsel took her knight by the reins of his bridle, and brought him to the 3 ways. And there was their oath made to meet at the fountain that day 12 month, and they were living. And so they kissed and departed, and each knight set his lady behind him. And Sir Uwaine took the way that lay west, and Sir Marhaus took the way that lay south, and Sir Gawain took the way that lay north. Now will we begin at Sir Gawain, that held that way till that he came unto a fair manor, where dwelled an old knight and a good householder. And there Sir Gawain asked the knight if he knew any adventures in that country. I shall show you some to morn, said the old knight, and that marvellous. So on the morn they rode into the forest of adventures to a laund, and thereby they found a cross. And as they stood and hoved, there came by them the fairest knight and the seemliest man that ever they saw, and making the greatest dole that ever man made. And then he was ware of Sir Gawain, and saluted him, and prayed God to send him much worship. As to that, Sir Gawain, gramercy, also I pray to God that he send you honor and worship. Ah, said the knight, I may lay that aside, for sorrow and shame cometh to me after worship. Chapter 20. How a knight and a dwarf strove for a lady. And therewith he passed unto the one side of the laund, and on the other side saw Sir Gawain 10 knights that hoved still, and made them ready with their shields and spears against that one knight that came by Sir Gawain. Then this one knight aventured a great spear, and one of the 10 knights encountered with him. But this woeful knight smote him so hard that he fell over his horse's tail. So this same dolorous knight served them all, that at the least way he smote down horse and man, and all he did with one spear. And so, when they were all 10 on foot, they went to that one knight, and he stood stone still, and suffered them to pull him down off his horse, and bound him hand and foot, and tied him under the horse's belly, and so led him with them. Oh, Jason, said Sir Gawain, this is a doleful sight, to see the yonder knight so to be entreated. And it seemeth by the knight that he suffereth them to bind him so, for he maketh no resistance. No, said his host, that is truth. For an he would, they all were too weak to do to do him. Oof. Sir, said the damsel unto Sir Gawain, meseemeth it were your worship to help that dolorous knight, for methinketh he is one of the best knights that ever I saw. I would do for him, said Sir Gawain, but it seemeth he will have no help. Then, said the damsel, methinketh ye have no lust to help him. Thus, as they talked, they saw a knight on the other side of the laund, all armed save the head. And on the other side there came a dwarf on horseback, all armed save the head, with a great mouth and a short nose. And when the dwarf came nigh, he said, Where is the lady should meet us here? And therewithal she came forth out of the wood. And then they began to strive for the lady, for the knight said he would have her, and the dwarf said he would have her. Will we do well, said the dwarf. Yonder is a knight at the cross. Let us put it both upon him, and as he deemeth, so shall it be. I will well, said the knight. And so they went all 3 unto Sir Gawain, and told him wherefore they strove. Well, sirs, said he, will ye put the matter in my hand? Yea, they said both. Now, damsel, said Sir Gawain, ye shall stand betwixt them both, and whether ye list better to go to, he shall have you. And when she was set between them both, she left the knight and went to the dwarf, and the dwarf took her and went his way singing, and the knight went his way with great mourning. Take note of this, short kings. The lady, she'll pick. Then came there 2 knights, all armed, and cried on high, Sir Gawain, knight of King Arthur's, make thee ready in all haste and joust with me. So they ran together, that either fell down, and then on foot they drew their swords, and did full actually. The meanwhile, the other knight went to the damsel, and asked her why she abode with that knight, and if you would abide with me, I will be your faithful knight. And with you will I be, said the damsel, for with Sir Gawain I may not find in my heart to be with him. For now here was one knight discomfited 10 knights, and at the last he was cowardly led away. And therefore let us 2 go, whilst they fight. And Sir Gawain found that and Sir Gawain fought with that other knight long, but at the last they accorded both. And then the knight prayed Sir Gawain to lodge with him that night. So as Sir Gawain went with this knight, he asked him, what knight is he in this country that smote down the 10 knights? For when he had done so manfully, he suffered them to bind him hand and foot, and so led him away. Ah, said the knight, that is the best knight I trow in the world, and the most man of prowess, and he hath been served so as he was even more than 10 times, and his name hight Sir Pelleas, and he loveth a great lady in this country, and her name is Attard. And so, when he loved her, there was cried in this country a great jousts 3 days, and all the knights of this country and there were there, and gentlewomen, and who that proved him the best knight should have a passing good sword and a circlet of gold, and the circlet the knight should give it to the fairest lady that was at the jousts. And this knight, Sir Pelleas, was the best knight that was there, and there were 500 knights, and there were never man that ever Sir Pelleas met withal, but he struck him down, or else from his horse. And every day of 3 days he struck down 20 knights, and therefore they gave him the prize. And forthwithal he went thereas the Lady Ettard was, and gave her the circlet, and said openly she was the fairest lady that there was, and that would he prove upon any knight that would say nay. I do notice that Gawain has not made any sort of mention that all of a sudden he is maidenless. She just left off. She's like, man, this guy's a coward. I'm a scoot. And he's just like, doesn't even notice. Too busy fighting with this other knight and then asking about the one that he let be carried away. Just, better things to do, I guess. Maidenless. Alright, let's continue now with chapter 21. How King Pelleas suffered himself to be taken prisoner because he would have a sight of his lady, and how Sir Gawain promised him to get to him the love of his lady. And so he chose her for his sovereign lady, and never to love other but her. But she was so proud that she had scorn of him, and said that she would never love him, though he would die for her. Wherefore all ladies and gentlewomen had scorn of her, that she was so proud, for there were fairer than she, and there was none that was there but, and Sir Pelleas would have preferred them love. They would have loved him for his noble prowess, and so this knight promised the Lady Ettard to follow her into this country, and never to leave her till she loved him. And thus he is here, the most part nigh her, and lodged by a priory, and every week she sendeth knights to fight with him, and when he hath put them to the worse, then will he suffer them wilfully to take him prisoner, because he would have a sight of this lady, and always she doth him great despite. For sometime she maketh her knights to tie him to his horse's tail, and some to bind him under the horse's belly. Thus in the most shamefullest ways that she can think he is brought to her. And all she doth it for to cause him to leave this country, and to leave his loving. But all this knight cannot make him to leave. For an he would have fought on foot, he might have had the better of the 10 knights, as well on foot as on horseback. Alas, said Sir Gawain, it is great pity of him. And after this night I will seek him tomorrow in this forest, to do him all the help I can. So on the morn Sir Gawain took his leave of his host Sir Carados, and rode into the forest, and at the last he met with Sir Pelleas, making great moan out of measure. So each of them saluted other, and asked him why he made such sorrow. And as it is above rehearsed, Sir Pelleas told Sir Gawain, But always I suffer her knights to fare so with me as ye saw yesterday, in trust at the last to win her love. For she knoweth well all her knights should not lightly win me, and me list to fight with them to the uttermost. Wherefore, and I loved her not so sore, I had liefer die 100 times, and I might die so oft, rather than I would suffer that despite. But I trust she will have pity upon me at the last, for love causeth many a good knight to suffer to have his intent. But alas, I am unfortunate, and therewith he made so great dole and sorrow that unneth he might hold him on horseback. Now, said Sir Gawain, leave your mourning, and I shall promise you, by the faith of my body, to do all that lieth in my power to get you the love of your lady, and thereto I will plight you my troth. Ah, said Sir Pelleas, of what court are ye? Tell me, I pray you, my good friend. And then Sir Gawain said, I am of the court of King Arthur and his sister's son, and King Lot of Orkney was my father, and my name is Sir Gawain. And then he said, my name is Sir Pelleas, born in the Isles, and of many isles I am lord, and never have I loved lady nor damsel till now in an unhappy time. And Sir Knight, since ye are so nigh cousin unto King Arthur, and a king's son, therefore betray me not, but help me, for I may never come by her but by some good knight. For she is in a strong castle here, fast by within this 4 mile, and over all this country she is lady, and so I may never come to her presence, but as I suffer her knights to take me. And but if I did that so that I might have a sight of her, I had been dead long or this time. And yet fair word had I never of her. But when I am brought before her, she rebuketh me in the foulest manner. And then they take my horse and harness and put me out of the gates, and she will not suffer me to eat nor drink, and always I offered me to be her prisoner, but that she will not suffer me, for I would desire no more. What pains soever I had, so that I might have a sight of her daily. Well, said Sir Gawain, all this shall I amend, and ye will do as I shall devise. I will have your horse and your armor, and so will I ride unto her castle, and tell her that I have slain you, and so shall I come within her to cause her to cherish me. And then shall I do my part, my true part, that ye shall not fail to have the love of her. Pelleas is down bad something horrendous. Alright, chapter 22. How Sir Gawain came to the Lady Ettard, and how Sir Pelleas found them sleeping. And therewith Sir Gawain plight his troth upon Sir Pelleas to be true and faithful unto him. So each one plight their troth to other, and so they changed horses and harness, and Sir Gawain departed, and came to the castle whereas stood the pavilions of this lady without the gate. And as soon as Ettard had espied Sir Gawain, she fled in toward the castle. Sir Gawain spake on high, and bade her abide, for he was not Sir Pelleas. I am another knight, that have slain Sir Pelleas. Do off your helm, said the Lady Ettard, that I may see your visage. And so, when she saw that it was not Sir Pelleas, she bade him alight, and led him unto her castle, and asked him faithfully whether he had slain Sir Pelleas. And he said her yea, and told her his name was Sir Gawain of the court of King Arthur, and his sister's son. Truly, said she, that is great pity, for he was a passing good knight of his body. But of all men alive I hated him most, for I could never be quit of him. And for ye have slain him, I shall be your woman, and to do anything that might please you. And so she made Sir Gawain good cheer. Then Sir Gawain said that he loved a lady, and by no means would she love him. She is to blame, said Ettard, and she will not love you, for ye that be so well born a man, and such a man of prowess, there is no lady in the world too good for you. Will ye, said Sir Gawain, promise me to do all that ye may, by the faith of your body, to get me the love of my lady? Yea, sir, said she, and that I promise you by the faith of my body. Now, said Sir Gawain, it is yourself that I love so well. Therefore I pray you, hold your promise. I may not choose, said the Lady Ettard, but if I should be forsworn. And so she granted him to fulfill all his desire. So it was then, in the month of May, that she and Sir Gawain went out of the castle and supped at a pavilion. And there was made a bed. And there Sir Gawain and the Lady Ettard went to bed together. And in another pavilion she laid her damsels. And in the third pavilion she laid part of her knights, for then she had no dread of Sir Pelleas. And there Sir Gawain lay with her in that pavilion 2 days and 2 nights. And on the third day, in the morning early, Sir Pelleas armed him, for he had never slept since Sir Gawain departed from him. For Sir Gawain had promised him, by the faith of his body, to come to him unto his pavilion by that priory within the space of a day and a night. Then Sir Pelleas mounted upon horseback, and came to the pavilions that stood without the castle, and found in the first pavilion 3 knights in 3 beds, and 3 squires lying at their feet. And then went he to the second pavilion, and found 4 gentlewomen lying in 4 beds. And then he yede to the third pavilion, and found Sir Gawain lying in bed with his Lady Ettard, and either clipping other in arms. And when he saw that, his heart well nigh brast for sorrow, and said, Alas, that ever a knight should be found so false! And then he took his horse, and found not abide no longer for pure sorrow. And when he had ridden nigh half a mile, he turned again, and thought to slay them both. And when he saw them both so lie sleeping fast, unneth he might hold him on horseback for sorrow, and he said thus to himself, Though this knight be never so false, I will never slay him sleeping, for I will never destroy the high order of knighthood. And therewith he departed again. And or he had ridden half a mile, he returned again, and thought then to slay them both, making the greatest sorrow that ever man made. And when he came to the pavilions, he tied his horse unto a tree, and pulled out his sword naked in his hand, and went to them thereas they lay. And yet he thought it were shame to slay them sleeping, and laid the naked sword over both their throats, and so took his horse and rode his way. And when Sir Pelleas came to his pavilions, and told his knights and his squires how he had sped, and said thus to them, For your true and good service ye have done me, I shall give you all my goods, for I will go unto my bed, and never arise until I am dead. And when that I am dead, I charge you that ye shall take the heart out of my body, and bear it betwixt 2 silver dishes, and tell her how I saw her lie with the false knight Sir Gawain. Right so Sir Pelleas unarmed himself, and went unto his bed, making marvellous dole and sorrow. When Sir Gawain and Ettard awoke of their sleep, and found the naked sword overthwart their throats. Then she knew well it was Sir Pelleas' sword. Alas, said she to Sir Gawain, ye have betrayed me and Sir Pelleas both, for ye told me ye had slain him, and now I know well it is not so. He is alive. And if Sir Pelleas had been as uncourteous to you as ye have been to him, ye had been a dead knight. But ye have deceived me and betrayed me falsely, that all ladies and damsels may beware by you and me. And therewith Sir Gawain made him ready, and went into the forest. So it happed then that the damsel of the lake, Nimue, met with a knight of Sir Pelleas, that went on his foot in the forest, making great dole, and she asked him the cause. And so the woeful knight told her how his master and lord was betrayed through a knight and lady, and how he will never arise out of his bed till he be dead. Bring me to him, said she anon, and I will warrant his life he shall not die for love. And she that hath caused him so to love, she shall be in as evil plight as he is, or it be long too, for it is no joy of such a proud lady that will have no mercy of such a valiant knight. Anon that knight brought her unto him, and when she saw him lie in his bed, she thought she never so likely a knight, and therewith she threw an enchantment upon him, and he fell asleep. And therewhile she rode unto the Lady Ettard, and charged no man to awake him, till she came again. So within 2 hours she brought the Lady Ettard thither, and both ladies found him asleep. Lo, said she, damsel of the lake, or said the damsel of the lake, ye ought to be ashamed for to murder such a knight. And therewith she threw such an enchantment upon her that she loved him sore, that well nigh she was out of her mind. O Lord Jesu, God, how is that pronounced? It's archaic for Jesus, but Jesu, yeah, Jesu. Oh Lord Jesu, said the Lady Ettard, how is it befallen unto me that I love him now? I love now him that I have most hated of any man alive. That is the righteous judgment of God, said the damsel. And then anon Sir Pelleas awaked and looked upon Ettard, and when he saw her, he knew her. And then he hated her more than any woman alive, and said, Away, traitress! Come never in my sight. And when she heard him say so, she wept and made great sorrow out of measure. Okay, so Gawain is the worst wingman ever, and Pelleas is actually just cursed. Dude was maybe a little over persistent, but damn, just not having a way of it, is he? Poor guy. And now chapter 23. How Sir Pelleas loved no more Ettard, by means of the damsel of the lake, whom he loved ever after. Sir Knight Pelleas, said the damsel of the lake, take your horse, and come forth with me out of this country, and ye shall love a lady that shall love you. I will well, said Sir Pelleas, for this Lady Ettard hath done me great despite and shame. And there he told her the beginning and ending, and how he had proposed never to have arisen till that he had been dead. And now such grace God hath sent me, that I hate her as much as ever I loved her. Thanked be our Lord Jesus. Thank me, said the damsel of the lake. Anon Sir Pelleas armed him, and took his horse, and commanded his men to bring after his pavilions and his stuff where the damsel of the lake would assign. So the Lady Ettard died for sorrow, and the damsel of the lake rejoiced Sir Pelleas, and loved together during their life days. So, of note, remind for a moment that Nimue, the damsel of the lake here that was running her enchantments and brought Atard to great sorrow and is running off now with Peleus. That's the one that trapped Merlin under the rock in the lake, or in the cave in the lake. So, not everything is on the up and up here. All the damsels of the lake, not all of them are as beneficent as some of the others. Alright, and looks like we are done with Gawain for the moment. And now we'll find out what Sir Marhaus has been up to since they passed with their own maidens. So, chapter 24, how Sir Marhaus rode with the damsel, and how he came to the Duke of the South Marches. Now turn we unto Sir Marhaus, that rode with the damsel of 30 winter of age, southward. And so they came into a deep forest, and by fortune they were knighted, and rode long in a deep way. And at the last they came unto a courtelage, and there they asked harbour. But the man of the courtelage would not lodge them for no treatise that they could treat. But thus much the good man said, and ye will take the adventure of your lodging. I shall bring ye where ye shall be lodged. What adventure is that I shall have for my lodging? Said Sir Marhaus. Ye shall wit when ye come there, said the good man. Sir, what adventure so it be, bring me thither, I pray thee, said Sir Marhaus, for I am weary, my damsel and my horse. So the good man went and opened the gate, and within an hour he brought him unto a fair castle. And then the poor man called the porter, and anon he was led into the castle. And so he told the lord how he brought him a knight errant and a damsel that would be lodged with him. Let him in, said the lord. It may happen he shall repent that they took their lodging there. So Sir Marhaus was let in with torchlight, and there was a goodly sight of young men that welcomed him. And then his horse was led into the stable, and he and the damsel were brought into the hall, and there stood a mighty duke, and many goodly men about him. And then this lord asked him what he hight, and from whence he came, and with whom he dwelt. Sir, he said, I am a knight of King Arthur's, and a knight of the Table Round, and my name is Sir Marhaus, and born I am in Ireland. Wait, was Marhaus one of the Round Table? I thought he was just sort of a random knight that Gawain and Ewain ran into. It's hard to keep track. And then said the Duke to him, That me sore repenteth. The cause is this, for I love not thy lord, nor none of thy fellows of the Table Round. And therefore ease thyself this night as well as thou mayest, for as to morn, I and my 6 sons shall match with you. Is there no remedy but that I must have ado with you and your 6 sons at once? Said Sir Marhaus. No, said the Duke, for this cause I made mine a vow, for Sir Gawain slew my 7 sons in a rencounter. Therefore I made mine a vow, there should never a knight of King Arthur's court lodge with me. Come thereas, I might have ado with him, but that I would have a revenging of my son's death. Always Gawain, always causing problems. What is your name? Said Sir Marhaus. I require you tell me, and it please you. Wit thou well, I am the Duke of South Marches. Ah, said Sir Marhaus, I have heard say that ye have been long time a great foe unto my lord Arthur, and to his knights. That shall ye feel to morn, said the Duke. Shall I have ado with you? Said Sir Marhaus. Yea, said the Duke. Thereof shalt thou not choose, and therefore take you to your chamber, and ye shall have all that to you longeth. So Sir Marhaus departed, and was led to a chamber. And his damsel was led unto her chamber, and on the morn the Duke sent unto Sir Marhaus, and bade make him ready. And so Sir Marhaus arose and armed him, and then there was a mass sung afore him, and brake his fast, and so mounted on horseback in the court of the castle, where they should do the battle. So there was the Duke all ready on horseback, clean armed, and his 6 sons by him, and every had a spear in his hand. And so they encountered, whereas the Duke and his 2 sons brake their spears upon him, but Sir Marhaus held up his spear and touched none of them. That brings us to the end of chapter 4, and we are right at 9 o'clock. So let's take a few minutes. I'm going to stretch my legs, refill my drink, check on the cats, and we'll be back to continue and see how Marhaus is going to handle this. Because if he's just standing there and taking it, this could either go very poorly or very well. Marhaus seems to be kind of a stand-up guy, so I'm hoping things go well for him. It seemed the knights that we've seen so far, it's a coin flip whether they're kind of shitters or genuine like models of chivalry. So, well, really, I can't say it's about a coin flip on shitters or not. Is it Gawain or not, I should say. Alright, we'll be back in just a few minutes, and we will see what further adventures these knights will get up to. All right, we are back. So, let's see what sort of adventure Marhouse is up to now with the Duke and his sons. Chapter 25. How Sir Marhouse fought with the Duke and his 4 sons and made them to yield them. Then came the 4 sons by couple, and 2 of them brake their spears, and so did the other 2. And all this while Sir Marhouse touched them not. Then Sir Marhouse ran to the Duke, and smote him with his spear, that horse and man fell to the earth, and so he served his sons. And then Sir Marhouse alighted down, and bade the Duke yield him, or else he would slay him. And then some of his sons recovered, and would have set upon Sir Marhouse. Then Sir Marhouse said to the Duke, "Cease thy sons, or else I will do the uttermost to you all." Then the Duke saw he might not escape the death. He cried to his sons, and charged them to yield them to Sir Marhouse. And they kneeled all down, and put the pommels of their swords to the knight. And so he received them, and then they helped up their father, and so by their communal assent promised to Sir Marhouse never to be foes unto King Arthur. And thereupon, at Whitsuntide after to come, he and his sons, and put them in the king's grace. Then Sir Marhouse departed. Within 2 days his damsel brought him whereas was a great tournament that the Lady Devos had cried. And who that did best should have a rich circlet of gold worth 1,000 besants. And there Sir Marhouse did so nobly that he was renowned. What's besants? It's not even coming up on the dictionary. Huh, interesting. And there Sir Marhouse did so nobly that he was renowned, and had sometime down 40 knights. And so the circlet of gold was rewarded him. Then he departed from them with great worship. And so within 7 nights his damsel brought him to an earl's place, and his name was the Earl Fergus. And that after was Sir Tristram's knight, and this earl was but a young man, and late come into his lands. And there was a giant fast by him that hight tallard. He had another brother in Cornwall that hight tallest, that Sir Tristram slew when he was out of his mind. So this earl made his complaint unto Sir Marhouse, that there was a giant by him that destroyed all his lands, and how he durst nowhere ride nor go for him. "Sir," said the knight, "whether useth he to fight on horseback or on foot?" "Nay," said the earl, "there may no horse bear him." "Well," said Sir Marhouse, "then I will fight with him on foot." So on the morn Sir Marhouse prayed the earl that one of his men might bring him whereas the giant was. And so he was, for he saw him sit under a tree of holly, and many clubs of iron and his arms were about him. So this knight dressed him to the giant, putting his shield afore him. And the giant took an iron club in his hand, and at the first stroke he clave Sir Marhouse's shield in 2 pieces. And there he was, in great peril, for the giant was a wily fighter. But at last Sir Marhouse smote off his right arm above the elbow. Then the giant fled, and the knight after him, and so he drove him to a water. But the giant was so high that he might not wade after him. And then Sir Marhouse made the Earl Fergus's man to fetch him stones, and with those stones the knight gave the giant many sore knocks, till at the last he made him fall down into the water, and so was he there dead. Then Sir Marhouse went unto the giant's castle, and there he delivered 24 ladies and 12 knights out of the giant's prison. And there he had great riches without number, so that the days of his life he was never a poor man. Then he returned to the Earl Fergus, the which thanked him greatly, and would have given him half his lands. but he would none take. So Sir Marhaus dwelled with the Earl nigh half a year, for he was sore bruised with the giant, and at the last he took his leave, and as he rode by the way, he met with Sir Gawain and Sir Uwaine, and so by adventure he met with 4 knights of Arthur's court. The first was Sir Sagramore le Desirous, Sir Osanna, Sir Dodinos le Savage, and Sir Phil of Listinois. And there Sir Marhaus with one spear smote down these 4 knights and hurt them sore. So he departed to meet at his day aforeset. Alright, so Marhaus had a pretty good run of it. His adventures were good and knightly, and he did the right thing and was well rewarded and didn't take over much when it was offered, and was just in general pretty great guy. I don't know why you don't hear about Marhaus more. That's not really one of the common knight names of the Round Table that come up, because he kind of killed it here. He'll probably have some great fall or something that can sign him into oblivion. Alright, Chapter 26. How Sir Uwaine rode with the damsel of 60 year of age, and how he gat the prize at tourneying. Sorry, about coughed up along there. Now turn we unto Sir Uwaine, that rode westward with his damsel of 60 winter of age, and she brought him thereas was a tournament nigh the March of Wales. And at that tournament Sir Uwaine smote down 30 knights, therefore was given him the prize, and that was a gerfalcon. Gerfalcon? I think that's a... Yeah, I think it's a J-ish. J sound. And that was a gerfalcon, and a white steed trapped with cloth of gold. So then Sir Uwaine did many strange adventures by the means of the old damsel, and so she brought him to a lady that was called the Lady of the Rock, the which was much courteous. So there were in the country 2 knights that were brethren, and they were called 2 perilous knights. The one knight hight Sir Edward of the Red Castle, and the other Sir Hugh of the Red Castle. And these 2 brethren had disinherited the Lady of the Rock of a barony of lands by their extortion. And as this knight was lodged with this lady, she made her complaint of him, or to him, of these 2 knights. Madam, said Sir Uwaine, they are to blame, for they do against the high order of knighthood, and the oath that they made. And if it like you, I will speak with them, because I am a knight of King Arthur's, and I will entreat them with fairness. And if they will not, I shall do battle with them, in the defence of your right. Gramercy, said the lady, and thereas I may not acquit you, God shall. So on the morn the 2 knights were sent for, that they should come thither to speak with the Lady of the Rock. And wit ye well, they failed not, for they came with 100 horse. When the lady saw them in this manner so big, she would not suffer Sir Uwaine to go out to them upon no surety, nor for no fair language. But she made him speak with them over a tower. But finally, these 2 brethren would not be entreated, and answered that they would keep that they had. Well, said Sir Uwaine, then will I fight with one of you, and prove that ye do this lady wrong. That we will not, said they, for an we do battle, we 2 will fight with one knight at once. And therefore, if ye will fight so, we will be ready at what hour ye will assign. And if ye win us in battle, the lady shall have her lands again. Ye say well, said Sir Uwaine, therefore make you ready, so that ye be here to morn, in the defense of the lady's right. And now, chapter 27. How Sir Uwaine fought with two knights and overcame them. So was there sickerness made on both parties, that no treason should be wrought on neither party. So then the knights departed, and made them ready. And that night Sir Uwaine had great cheer. And on the morn he arose early and heard mass, and brake his fast. And so he rode unto the plain without the gates, there where hoved the two brethren abiding him. So they rode together, passing sore, that Sir Edward and Sir Hugh brake their spears upon Sir Uwaine. Sir Uwaine smote Sir Edward, that he fell over his horse, and yet his spear brast not. And then he spurred his horse, and came upon Sir Hugh, and overthrew him. But they soon recovered, and dressed their shields, and drew their swords, and bade Sir Uwaine alight, and do his battle to the uttermost. Then Sir Uwaine devoided his horse suddenly, and put his shield afore him, and drew his sword. And so they dressed together, and either gave other such strokes. And there these two brethren wounded Sir Uwaine passing grievously, that the Lady of the Rock weened he should have died. And thus they fought together 5 hours, as men raged out of reason. And at the last Sir Uwaine smote Sir Edward upon the helm such a stroke that his sword carved upon his canel bone. And then Sir Hugh abated his courage, but Sir Uwaine pressed fast to have slain him. That saw Sir Hugh, he kneeled down and yielded him to Sir Uwaine. And he, of his gentleness, received his sword, and took him by the hand, and went into the castle together. Then the Lady of the Rock was passing glad, and the other brother made great sorrow for his brother's death. Then the lady was restored of all her lands, and Sir Hugh was commanded to be at the court of King Arthur at the next feast of Pentecost. So Sir Uwaine dwelt with the lady nigh half a year, for it was long, or he might be whole of his great hurts. So when it drew nigh the term day that Sir Gawaine, Sir Marhaus, and Sir Uwaine should meet at the crossway, then every knight drew him thither to hold his promise that they had made. And Sir Marhaus and Sir Uwaine brought their damsels with them. Sir Gawaine had lost his damsel, as it is afore rehearsed. Gawaine the maidenless. Chapter 28. How at the year's end all 3 knights with their 3 damsels met at the fountain. Right so, at the 12 months' end, they met all 3 knights at the fountain and their damsels. But the damsel that Sir Gawaine had could say but little worship of him. So they departed from the damsels, and rode through a great forest. And there they met with a messenger that came from King Arthur, that had sought them well nigh a 12-month throughout all England, Wales, and Scotland, and charged, if ever he might find Sir Gawaine and Sir Uwaine, to bring them to the court again. And then were they all glad, and so prayed they Sir Marhaus to ride with them to the king's court. And so within 12 days they came to Camelot, and the king was passing glad of their coming. And so was all the court. Then the king made them to swear upon a book, to tell him all their adventures that had befallen them that 12-month, and so they did. And there was Sir Marhaus well known, for there were knights that he had matched aforetime, and he was named one of the best knights living. Against the feast of Pentecost came the damsel of the lake, and brought with her Sir Pelleas. And at that high feast there was great jousting of knights, and of all knights that were at the jousts, Sir Pelleas had the prize, and Sir Marhaus was named the next. But Sir Pelleas was so strong there might but few knights sit him a buffet with a spear. And at that next feast Sir Pelleas and Sir Marhaus were made knights of the Table Round, for there were 2 sieges void. For but 2 knights were slain that 12-month. And great joy had King Arthur of Sir Pelleas and of Sir Marhaus. But Pelleas loved never after Sir Gawain, but as he spared him for the love of King Arthur. But oft times at jousts and tournaments Sir Pelleas quit Sir Gawain, for so it rehearseth in the book of French. So Sir Tristram many days after fought with Sir Marhaus in an island, and there they did a great battle. But at the last Sir Tristram slew him. So Sir Tristram was wounded, that unneth he might recover, and lay at a nunnery half a year. And Sir Pelleas was a worshipful knight, and was one of the 4 that achieved the Sangreal. And the Damsel of the Lake made by her means that never he had ado with Sir Launcelot de Lake. For where Sir Launcelot was at any jousts or any tournament, she would not suffer him be there that day, but if it were on the side of Sir Launcelot. Explicit liber cortus, incipit liber quintus. Okay, so that is why Sir Marhaus was not so well known. He had a few chapters here. He had a great adventure, was made a knight of the court, and Tristram killed him. Oh, sorry. He got done dirty. Out of the 3, he probably did the best. Had the most knightly adventures, the most chivalrous conduct, and done. Alright, that brings us to the end of Book 4 and the start of Book 5 of La Morte d'Arthur. This puts us at just a little north of a third of the way through the book. We've got a fair bit of time left, so we will be getting some few chapters in tonight. But let's just take a moment to think back on that. So that last section, the last book, was interesting. Arthur had his adventure and was swept away with 2 of his knights, and Accolon was cheating on, or was cheating with Morgan Le Fay and conspiring behind the back to bring an end to Arthur. But that was ended. And then on the discovery and coming home and realization that Morgan was false, Arthur banished Ewain, and because Ewain is Morgan's son. But Gawain followed because cousins, gotta stay close. But so they had their adventure. So there was a lot going on. Gawain is kind of a shit. Just that is kind of the way it is. He's just kind of a shit. He caused problems early on when he was first made a knight, and he continued to cause problems throughout this. So I don't know if he's going to be redeemed or if he's just always going to be a shit. Alright. Oh, Sim's on the desk now. Hi, buddy. Alright. Let's continue now with Book 5 of La Morte d'Arthur. Chapter 1. How 12 aged ambassadors of Rome came to King Arthur to demand truage for Britain. I am having a hard time keeping track of the actual time period this is supposed to be set in. Because, as we know, the actual, the chieftain Arthur that this was all based on was I think it was a Welsh chieftain. So, long time back, and, concurrent to the Roman Empire. This seems to be set more in a medieval setting, which is, obviously, well after the Roman Empire. But now we have them happening concurrently? You know what? It's sometimes best to just take the story for what it is and be like, it doesn't need to make sense. It doesn't need to have a basis in history or fact. It's interesting. Rule of cool shit. So, let's see if this can live up to the rule of cool. When King Arthur had after long war rested, and held a royal feast and table round with his allies of kings, princes, and noble knights of all of the Round Table, there came into his hall, he sitting in his throne royal, 12 ancient men, bearing each of them a branch of olive, in token that they came as ambassadors and messengers from the Emperor Lucius, which was called at that time dictator or procurer of the public weal of Rome, which said messengers, after their entering and coming into the presence of King Arthur, did to him their obeisance in making to him reverence, and said to him in this wise, The high and mighty Emperor Lucius sendeth to the King of Britain greeting, commanding thee to acknowledge him for thy lord, and to send him the truage due of this realm unto the empire, which thy father and other tofore thy processors have paid, as is of record. And thou, as rebel, not knowing him as thy sovereign, withholdest and retainest, contrary to the statutes and decrees made by the noble and worthy Julius Caesar, conqueror of this realm and first emperor of Rome. And if thou refuse his demand and commandment, know thou for certain that he shall make strong war against thee, thy realms and lands, and shall chastise thee and thy subjects, that it shall be ensample perpetual unto all kings and princes, for to deny their truage unto that noble empire which domineth upon the universal world. Then, when they had showed the effect of their message, the king commanded them to withdraw them, and said he should take advice of counsel and give to them an answer. Then some of the young knights, hearing this their message, would have run on them to have slain them, saying that it was a rebuke to all the knights there being present to suffer them to say so to the king. And anon the king commanded that none of them, upon pain of death, to missay them nor do them any harm, and commanded a knight to bring them to their lodging, and see that they have all that is necessary and requisite for them, with the best cheer, and that no dainty be spared, for the Romans be great lords, and though their message please me not nor my court, yet I must remember mine honor. After this, the king let call all his lords and knights of the Round Table to counsel upon this manner, and desired them to say their advice. Then Sir Cador of Cornwall spake first, and said, Sir, this message liketh me well, for we have many days rested us and have been idle, and now I hope ye shall make sharp war on the Romans, where I doubt not we shall get honor. I believe well, said Arthur, that this matter pleaseth thee well, but these answers may not be answered. But for the demand grieveth me sore, for truly I will never pay truage to Rome. Wherefore I pray you to counsel me. I have understood that Belenus and Brennius, kings of Britain, have had the empire in their hands many days, and also Constantine, the son of Helene, which is an open evidence that we owe no tribute to Rome, but of right. We that be descended of them have right to claim the title of the empire. Okay, so now Arthur is thinking that it might be fun to reform the Roman Empire. So the HRE? Nah. Seated out of Britain, out of Camelot. Okay, sure thing, Arthur. Chapter 2. How the kings and lords promised to King Arthur aid and help against the Romans. Then answered King Anguish of Scotland, Sir, ye ought of right to be above all other kings, for unto you is none like nor parallel in Christendom, of knighthood nor of dignity, and I counsel you never to obey the Romans, for when they reigned on us, they distressed our elders, and put this land to great extortions and tallies. Wherefore I make here mine a vow to avenge me on them, and for to strengthen your quarrel, I shall furnish 20,000 good men of war, and wage them on my costs, which shall await on you with myself when it shall please you. And the king of Little Britain granted him to the same 30,000. Wherefore King Arthur thanked them, and then every man agreed to make war, and to aid after their power. That is, to wit, the Lord of West Wales promised to bring 30,000 men, and Sir Uwaine, Sir Ider his son, with their cousins promised to bring 30,000. Then Sir Launcelot, with all other promised in likewise every man a great multitude. And when King Arthur understood their courages and good wills, he thanked them heartily. And after let call the ambassadors to hear their answer. And in presence of all his lords and knights he said to them in this wise, I will that ye return unto your lord and procurer of the commonweal for the Romans, and say ye to him, of his demand and commandment I set nothing, and that I know of no truage nor tribute that I owe to him, nor to none earthly prince, Christian nor heathen. But I pretend to have and occupy the sovereignty of the empire, wherein I am entitled by the right of my predecessors, sometime kings of this land, and say to him that I am delivered and fully concluded to go with mine army with strength and power unto Rome by the grace of God, to take possession in the empire and subdue them that be rebel. Wherefore I command him and all them of Rome, that incontinent they make to me their homage, and to acknowledge me for their emperor and governor, upon pain that shall ensue. And then he commanded his treasurer to give them great and large gifts, and to pay all their dispenses, and assigned Sir Cador to convey them out of the land. And so they took their leave and departed, and took their shipping at Sandwich, and passed forth by Flanders, all Maine, the mountains, and all Italy, until they came unto Lucius. And after the reverence made, they made relation of their answer, like as ye tofore have heard. When the Emperor Lucius had well understood their credence, he was sore moved, as he had been all arraged, and said, I had supposed that Arthur would have obeyed to my commandment, and have served you himself, as him well beseemed, or any king to do. Oh, sir, said one of the senators, let be such vain words, for we let you wit that I and my fellows were full sore afeard to beheld his countenance. I fear me ye have made a rod for yourself, for he intendeth to be lord of this empire, which sore is to be doubted if he come. For he is all another man than ye ween, and holdeth the most noble court of the world. All other kings nor princes may not compare unto his noble countenance, noble maintenance. On New Year's Day he saw them in his estate, which was the royalest that ever we saw. For he was served at his table with 9 kings, and the noblest fellowship of other princes, lords, and knights that be in the world. And every knight approved, and like a lord, and holdeth table round. And in his person, the most manly man that liveth, and is like to conquer all the world, for unto his courage it is too little. Wherefore I advise you to keep well your marches and straits in the mountains, for certainly he is a lord to be doubted. Well, said Lucius, before Easter I suppose to pass the mountains, and so forth into France, and there bereave him his lands with Genoese, and other mighty warriors of Tuscany and Lombardy, and I shall send for them all that be subjects and allied to the empire of Rome to come to mine aid. And forthwith sent old wise knights unto these countries, following first to Umbrage and Arage, to Alexandria, to India, to Armenia, whereas the river of Euphrates runneth into Asia to Africa, and Europe the large to Atene and Elami and Araby and Egypt, and to Damascus and Damietta and Caire and Cappadocia and Tarsus, Turkey, Pontus and Pamphylia, Syria and Galatia. And all these were subject to Rome, and many more, as Greece, Cyprus, Macedonia, Calabria, Catalan, Portugal, with many thousands of Spaniards. Thus all these kings, dukes, and admirals assembled about Rome, with 16 kings at once, with great multitude of people. When the emperor understood their coming, he made ready his Romans, and all the people between him and Flanders. Also, he had gotten with him 50 giants, which had been engendered of fiends. They were ordained to guard his person, and to break the front of the battle of King Arthur, and thus departed from Rome, and came down the mountains for to destroy the lands that Arthur had conquered, and came unto Cologne, and besieged a castle thereby, and won it soon, and stuffed it with 200 Saracens or infidels, and after destroyed many fair countries which Arthur had won of King Claudius. And thus Lucius came with all his host, which were dispersed 60 mile in breadth, and commanded them to meet with him in Burgoyne, for he purposed to destroy the realm of Little Britain. I feel like we are skipping about some. I don't remember Arthur actually going to war against Claudius. He had promised aid to King Ban and King Bors, but I don't remember him actually going to war against him. There's a lot of things that happen off screen here. Particularly, Lancelot's been mentioned a few times, but never actually properly introduced. There's a lot going on with this version. It's very dense, and like it's a good version, and it covers a lot. But the pacing is all over the place, and the sequencing, I don't know what's happening in what order at this point, especially between the books. I think each book is almost meant to be independent of the others, and they might be in the right order. Maybe. Perhaps. Or there's things that happen outside of the books that we're just supposed to be like, yeah, that's what Arthur did. Totally. Which I guess, if about contemporary to this, the general lore and stories of Arthur were a lot more well-known and widespread. It would have been similar to just like bedtime stories, that like they didn't have the fairy tales of the Brothers Grimm at this point. So yeah, you're right. There's a lot to cram in, so they're kind of playing it fast and loose here. And this is a lot of book too, so there's a lot to cover. So it may be sort of collecting all the various tales that have been out and about and being told by Fireside, and getting them down into paper and just like trying to make the ends meet up, which is kind of a tall order if you really think about it. It's trying to turn folklore into proper literature. Different areas will tell stories slightly differently, and you're trying to get all the details aligned. So you have to respect the effort, but it's still confusing. All right, let's continue on, because this is starting to get a little wild as the Romans are calling in the banners, and it is the entire Roman Empire, which should have already collapsed, but let's not get into that too heavily just yet. Chapter 3. How King Arthur held a parliament at York, and how he ordained the realm should be governed in his absence. Oh yes, nothing ever went wrong when a king of England went off to fight wars and left everything back home to just be run on its own. That never went poorly. Now we leave Lucius the Emperor, and speak we of King Arthur, that commanded all of them of his retinue to be ready at the Utus of Hilary, for to hold a parliament at York, and at that parliament was concluded to arrest all the navy of the land, and to be ready within 15 days at Sandwich. There he showed to his army how he proposed to conquer the empire, which he ought to have of right. And there he ordained 2 governors of this realm, that is to say, Sir Bodwin of Britain, for to counsel to the best, and Sir Constantine, son to Sir Cador of Cornwall, which, after the death of Arthur, was king of this realm. And in the presence of all his lords he resigned the rule of the realm, and Guinevere his queen to them. Wherefore Sir Launcelot was wroth, for he sent Sir Tristram with King Mark for the love of Beelzebub. Then the Queen Guinevere made great sorrow for the departing of her lord and other, and swooned in such wise that the ladies bare her into her chamber. Thus the king with his great army departed, leaving the queen and the realm in the governance of Sir Bodwin and Constantine. And when he was on his horse, he said with a high voice, "If I die in this journey, I will that Sir Constantine be mine heir, and king crowned of this realm as next of my blood." And after departed, and entered into the sea at Sandwich with all his army, with a great multitude of ships, galleys, cogs, and dromonds, sailing on the sea. So there was reference to Lancelot and Guinevere, and they kind of hinted at things here, but we still haven't properly had an introduction to Lancelot. He's been name-dropped a few times, but there's no real groundwork laid yet. And he's a major player in this, as supposedly the greatest knight to have ever lived. Never known defeat, and just, you know, name drop from here and there. I guess you're supposed to know that, but come on. Alright, Chapter 4. How King Arthur, being shipped and lying in his cabin, had a marvelous dream, and of the exposition thereof. Well, I think the Sangreal that has been name-dropped a few times is the Grail. Let me actually confirm that, make sure I'm not talking out of my ass. Yeah, so the Sangreal that's been mentioned a few times in passing is the Grail, with just like a single word for it. Don't ask me why they put that or they decided to do that instead of like the Holy Grail or something, but it's been mentioned, but it hasn't, like, the quest for it hasn't come up yet. But I think the quest for the Grail is, yeah, you're right, still also in passing. A lot like Lancelot, just in passing. So I imagine that toward the trail end is probably when that will more come up. Because if I remember right, the quest for the Grail was like the entirety of the latter half of Arthur's reign. So that'll probably be, if not the next book, or coming up soon, I'd imagine. Because a lot of the things that we're dreading and foreseeing are when things are really starting to go downhill. But they are major parts that everyone knows at least part of. Alright, so Chapter 4. How King Arthur, being shipped and lying in his cabin, had a marvelous dream, and of the exposition thereof. And as the king lay in his cabin in the ship, he fell in a slumbering, and dreamed a marvelous dream. him seemed that a dreadful dragon did drown much of his people, and he came flying out of the west, and his head was enamelled with azure, and his shoulders shone as gold, his belly like mails of a marvellous hue, his tail full of tatters, his feet full of fine sable, and his claws like fine gold. And an hideous flame of fire flew out of his mouth, like as the land and water had flamed all of fire. After him seemed there came out of the Orient a grimly boar all black in a cloud, and his paws as big as a post. He was rugged looking roughly. He was the foulest beast that ever man saw. He roared and roamed, and so hideously that it were marvel to hear. Then the dreadful dragon advanced him, and came in the wind like a falcon, giving great strokes on the boar, and the boar hit him again with his grisly tusks, that his breast were all bloody, and that the hot blood made all the sea red of his blood. Then the dragon flew away, all on a height, and came down with such a swow, and smote the boar on the ridge, which was 10 foot large from the head to the tail, and smote the boar all to powder, both flesh and bones, that it flittered all abroad on the sea. And therewith the king awoke anon, and was sore abashed of his dream, and sent anon for a wise philosopher, commanding to tell the signification of his dream. Sir, said the philosopher, the dragon that thou dreamedest of betokeneth thine own person that saileth here, and the colours of his wings be thy realms that thou hast won. And his tail, which is all to tattered, signifieth the noble knights of the Round Table. And the boar that the dragon slew, coming from the clouds, betokeneth some tyrant that tormenteth the people. Or else thou art like to fight with some giant thyself, being horrible and abominable, whose peer ye saw never in your days. Wherefore, of this dreadful dream doubt thee nothing, but as a conqueror come forth thyself. Then, after this, soon they had sight of land, and sailed till they arrived at Barfleet in Flanders. And when they were there, he found many of his great lords ready, as they had been commanded to wait upon him. An interesting note here as well. This is past Christianization of the story. Generally, prophetic dreams are not really smiled upon in that tradition. So, that's fun. Alright, Chapter 5. How a man of the country told to him of a marvelous giant, and how he fought and conquered him. Then came to him a husbandman of the country, and told him how there was in the country of Constantine beside Brittany a great giant which had slain, murdered, and devoured much people of the country, and had been sustained 7 years with the children of the commons of that land, insomuch that all the children be all slain and destroyed. And now late he hath taken the Duchess of Brittany, as she rode with her maidie, and hath led her to his lodging, which is in a mountain, for to ravish and lie by her to her life's end. And many people followed her, more than 500, but all they might not rescue her, but they left her shrieking and crying lamentably. Wherefore I suppose that he hath slain her in fulfilling his foul lust of lechery. She was wife unto thy cousin, Sir Howell, whom we call full nigh of thy blood. Now, as thou art a rightful king, have pity on this lady, and revenge us all as thou art a noble conqueror. Alas, said King Arthur, this is a great mischief. I had liefer than the best realm that I had been a furlong way to for him, for to have rescued that lady. Now, fellow, said King Arthur, canst thou bring me thereas this giant haunteth? Yea, sir, said the good man, look yonder, whereas thou see those 2 great fires. There shalt thou find him, and more treasure than I suppose is in all France." When the king had understood this piteous case, he returned into his tent. Then he called to him Sir Kay and Sir Bedivere, and commanded him secretly to make ready horse and harness for himself and them twain. For after evensong he would ride on pilgrimage with them two only unto St. Michael's Mount. And then anon he made him ready, and armed him at all points, and took his horse and his shield, and so the three departed thence, and rode forth as fast as ever they might, till they came to the foreland of that mount. And there they alighted, and the king commanded them to tarry there, for he would himself go up into that mount. And so he ascended up into that hill till he came to a great fire, and there he found a careful widow, wringing her hands and making great sorrow, sitting by a grave new made. And then King Arthur saluted her, and demanded of her wherefore she made such lamentation, to whom she answered and said, "Sir knight, speak soft, for yonder is a devil. If he hear thee speak, he will come and destroy thee. I hold thee unhappy. What dost thou here in this mountain? For if ye were 50, as ye be, ye were not able to make resistance against this devil. Here lieth the Duchess dead, the which was the fairer of all the world, wife to Sir Howell, Duke of Brittany. He hath murdered her, enforcing her, and hath slit her unto the navel." Ho, yo, okay. "Dame," said the king, "I come from the noble conqueror King Arthur, for to treat with that tyrant for his liege people. Fie on such treaties," said she. "He setteth not by the king, nor by no man else. But if thou have brought Arthur's wife, Dame Guinevere, he shall be gladder than thou hadst given to him half France. Beware, approach him not too nigh, for he hath vanquished 15 kings, and hath made him a coat full of precious stones embroidered with their beards, which they sent him to have his love for salvation of their people, at this last Christmas. And if thou wilt, speak with him at yonder great fire at supper." "Well," said Arthur, "I will accomplish my message for all your fearful words," and went forth by the crest of that hill, and saw where he sat at supper, gnawing on a limb of a man, baking his broad limbs by the fire, and breechless, and 3 fair damsels turning those brooches whereon were broached 12 young children late born, like young birds. When King Arthur beheld that piteous sight, he had great compassion on them, so that his heart bled for sorrow, and hailed him, saying in this wise, "He that all the world wieldeth, give thee short life and shameful death, and the devil have thy soul. Why hast thou murdered these young, innocent children, and murdered this duchess? Therefore arise and dress thee, thou glutton, for this day shalt thou die of my hand." Then the glutton anon started up, and took a great club in his hand, and smote at the king, that his coronal fell to the earth, and the king hit him again, that he carved his belly and cut off his genitors, that his guts and his entrails fell down to the ground. Then the giant threw away his club, and caught the king in his arms, that he crushed his ribs. Then the 3 maidens kneeled down, and called to Christ for help and comfort of Arthur. And then Arthur weltered and wrung, that he was otherwhile under another time above. And so weltering and wallowing, they rolled down the hill till they came to the sea mark. And ever as they so weltered, Arthur smote him with his dagger. And it fortuned they came to the place whereas the 2 knights were, and kept Arthur's horse. Then when they saw the king fast in the giant's arms, they came and loosed him. And then the king commanded Sir Kay to smite off the giant's head, and set it upon a truncheon of a spear, and bear it to Sir Howell, and tell him that his enemy was slain. And after, let this head be bound to a barbican, that all the people may see and behold it. And go ye two up to the mountain, and fetch me my shield, my sword, and the club of iron. And as for the treasure, take ye it, for ye shall find their goods out of number. So I have the kirtle, and the club I desired no more. This was the fiercest giant that ever I met, save one in the Mount of Araby, which I overcame. But this was greater and fiercer. Then the knights fetched the club and the kirtle, and some of the treasure they took to themselves, and returned again to the host. And anon this was known through all the country. Wherefore the people came and thanked the king. And he said again, Give the thanks to God, and depart the goods among you. And after that, King Arthur said and commanded his cousin Howell that he should ordain for a church to be builded on the same hill in the worship of St. Michael. And on the morn the king removed with his great battle, and came unto Champagne and in a valley. And there they pight their tents. And the king being set at his dinner, there came in two messengers, of whom that one was Marshal of France, and said to the king that the emperor was entered into France, and had destroyed a great part, and was in Burgoyne, and had destroyed and made great slaughter of people, and burnt towns and boroughs. Wherefore, if thou come not hastily, they must yield up their bodies and goods. Ooh, all right, there was a lot to unpack on that one. Between the giant that raped the Duchess to death, was roasting infants on a spit, and then fought with Arthur there. Like, okay, was probably unnecessarily detailed in a lot of that. But yeah, that went from 0 to 100. Blink of an eye. Alright, we've probably got time left for one chapter tonight. This next one is another, it's a little bit longer. Well, I say that, but it's about a page and a half. The chapters in this are exceedingly short. And we've got some thunder rolling in too. So hopefully we'll beat the storm here and get through this chapter. And so, chapter 6. How King Arthur sent Sir Gawain and others to Lucius, and how they were assailed and escaped with worship. Then did the king do call Sir Gawain, Sir Bors, and Sir Lionel, and Sir Bedivere, and commanded them to go straight to Sir Lucius. And say ye to him that hastily he remove out of my land, and if he will not, bid him make him ready to go to battle, and not distress the poor people. Then anon these noble knights dressed them to horseback, and when they came to the green wood, they saw many pavilions set in a meadow of silk of diverse colours beside a river, and the emperor's pavilion was in the middle, with an eagle displayed above. To the which tent our knights rode toward, and ordained Sir Gawain and Sir Bors to do the message, and left in a bushment Sir Lionel and Sir Bedivere. And then Sir Gawain and Sir Bors did their message, and commanded Lucius in Arthur's name to avoid his land, or shortly to address him to battle. To whom Lucius answered and said, Ye shall return to your lord, and say ye to him that I shall subdue him and all his lands. Then Sir Gawain was wroth, and said, I had liefer than all France fight against thee. And so had I, said Sir Bors, liefer than all Brittany or Burgoyne. Quick aside, Gawain is probably not the right choice to send on a mission as a messenger. We've seen how this boy fucks up over and over and over and over and over again. And yet. Then a knight named Sir Gainas, nigh cousin to the emperor, said, Lo, how these Britons be full of pride and boast, and they brag as though they bear up all the world. Then Sir Gawain was sore grieved with these words, and pulled out his sword and smote off his head. Okay, calm down. and therewith turned their horses, and rode over waters and through woods, till they came to their bushment, whereas Sir Lionel and Sir Bedivere were hoving. The Romans followed fast after, on horseback, and on foot, over a champaign unto a wood. Then Sir Bors turned his horse, and saw a knight come fast on, whom he smote through the body with a spear, that he fell dead down to the earth. Then came Caliburn, one of the strongest of Pavie, and smote down many of Arthur's knights. And when Sir Bors saw him do so much harm, he addressed toward him, and smote him through the breast, that he fell down dead to the earth. Then Sir Feldenach thought to revenge the death of Gainas upon Sir Gawain, but Sir Gawain was ware thereof, and smote him on the head, which stroke stinted not till it came to his breast. Then he returned and came to his fellows in the bushment. There was a rencounter, for the bushment brake on the Romans, and slew and hewed down the Romans, and forced the Romans to flee and return, whom the noble knights chased unto their tents. Then the Romans gathered more people, and also footmen came on, and there was a new battle, and so much people that Sir Bors and Sir Beryl were taken. But when Sir Gawain saw that, he took with him Sir Idris, the good knight, and said he would never see King Arthur but if he rescued them, and pulled out Galatine, his good sword, and followed them that led those two knights away. And he smote him that led Sir Bors, and took Sir Bors from him, and delivered him to his fellows. And Sir Idris, and likewise rescued Sir Beryl. Then began the battle to be great, that our knights were in great jeopardy. Wherefore Sir Gawain sent to King Arthur for succor, and that he hie him, for I am sore wounded, and that our prisoners may pay goods out of number. And the messenger came to the king and told him his message, and anon the king did do assemble his array, his army. But anon, or he departed, the prisoners were come, and Sir Gawain and his fellows gat the field and put the Romans to flight. And after returned and came with their fellowship in such wise that no man of worship was lost to them, save that Sir Gawain was sore hurt. Then the king did do ransack his wounds and comforted him. And thus was the beginning of the first journey of the Britons and the Romans. And there were slain of the Romans more than 10,000. And great joy and mirth was made that night in the host of King Arthur. And on the morn he sent all the prisoners into Paris, under the guard of Sir Launcelot, with many knights, and of Sir Cador. That brings us to the end of chapter 6, and that'll be where we finish up for tonight. But wow, so there was a... So, Gawain did well, but showed up as a messenger, killed someone on his way, killed a knight on his way out, started a battle, and I mean, it ended well for them, but for the grace of God, it could have gone otherwise. All right, guys, we will go ahead and call this for the evening. It has been an interesting night so far. We saw failing upward indeed. We saw the adventure of the three knights as they went through the great wood after being banished from Arthur's court for a year or so. We saw their triumphant return, and then poor Marhaus being forgotten in history when Tristram took him out on an island. Like, you hate to see it. And then Gawain now continues to fail upward, because inexplicably, Arthur is fighting the Roman Empire that shouldn't exist at the same time, but we won't get into that too much. Best not think about it. Just enjoy it. We're having some good fights, right? Fighting a random giant that was in France, fighting the Roman Empire and legions that have knights of their own. Rule of cool, rule of cool. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope to see you next time. Our next reading is going to be on Tuesday, so we've got a night off. This puts us at about 37% of the way through the book or so. So we've got probably another, I'd say a week and a half of this. Little less than 2 weeks. So this is a solid session, or a solid series that we've got, and I'm enjoying it so far. and we'll continue to just go through and see what sort of adventures and misadventures Arthur and his knights can manage to get into. If you have not yet, I do encourage you to hit like on the stream. We are trying to grow our channel and community, kind of get everyone involved on the love of literature and just the fun books that we get together to read sometimes. And the best way to do that is to manipulate the algorithm a little bit. So, likes, subscribes, the YouTube thing. Alright, that's all the shilling for me tonight, and I hope everyone has a wonderful evening. I'm going to try and beat this storm, because it is just about to break. And I wish you all a good night. Thanks, everyone.